Hello and welcome back to Inner Spark, the place where stories light the fire within you. Today, we're diving into a journey that might feel uncomfortably familiar. It's about Daniel Parker, a 34-year-old from Manchester who always told himself he'd start chasing his dreams tomorrow. He had talent, ideas, and ambition, but he also had a comfortable job, steady pay, and a routine that never challenged him. Daniel thought he had all the time in the world, but time was quietly slipping through his fingers. If this story inspires you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so more people can ignite their own inner spark. Daniel had worked at the same marketing firm for over a decade. He was good at his job, too good, in fact. His managers relied on him, his colleagues liked him, and every payday was predictable. But every night, as he scrolled through social media, he saw people starting their own businesses, traveling, or living their dreams. He'd sigh and tell himself, "I'll start when things settle down." The problem was, things never settled down, they just kept going. His dream was to open a small graphic design studio. He loved creating logos, posters, and branding ideas, but in the office, he only designed what the client dictated. There was no creativity, just deadlines and corporate rules. Yet, whenever friends asked why he didn't start his own business, Daniel had a ready answer: it's not the right time yet. Deep down, he knew it was fear disguised as patience. Years passed, and Daniel's comfort zone grew more like a safety blanket. The salary was enough to pay the bills, buy the occasional holiday, and keep life predictable. But every year, that small voice in his head whispered, "What if?" He would silence it with Netflix, late-night snacks, and the comfort of routine. Comfort made him feel safe, but it was slowly killing his potential. One rainy Tuesday, Daniel was walking home from work when he saw an old university friend, Jack, sitting at a cafe. They chatted for a while, and Daniel learned Jack had started his own design agency 5 years ago. Now Jack had a small team, a London office, and clients across Europe. "It's been tough but worth it," Jack said, smiling. Daniel congratulated him, but inside, he felt a sharp sting of regret. That night, Daniel lay awake, staring at the ceiling. He couldn't shake the image of Jack, someone who had once been at the exact same starting line, now living the life Daniel had dreamed. OF. It wasn't that Jack was smarter or more talented. The difference was that Jack had taken action, while Daniel had waited. And waited. And waited. The very next morning, Daniel decided to finally start working on his dream after work. But as soon as he sat down with his laptop, an email came in from his boss asking for help on a project. By the time he finished, it was late, and he told himself, "I'll start tomorrow." This cycle repeated for weeks. Daniel realized something brutal. It wasn't lack of time, it was lack of discipline. Daniel began researching time management techniques. He read about the priority matrix and time blocking. He learned that most people waste hours each day on distractions, and that comfort zones often keep us trapped in those habits. It was a wake-up call. But reading wasn't enough, he needed to act. One Sunday morning, Daniel set his alarm for 6 a.m., blocked off 2 hours for his design work, and left his phone in another room. It felt strange at first, like forcing himself into cold water, but within minutes, he was lost in creativity. He hadn't felt that alive in years. Weeks turned into months, and Daniel slowly built his portfolio. He said no to extra office tasks that didn't matter, cut down his TV time, and treated his side project like it was his real job. For the first time in a decade, he felt like he was moving forward instead of standing still. One day, his boss offered him a promotion. It came with more money, more status, but also more hours. It would mean putting his business on hold again. The old Daniel would have said yes without hesitation, but the new Daniel paused. He realized more money now meant less time later. And time was the real currency of life. After a long weekend of thinking, Daniel turned down the promotion. His colleagues were shocked, but he explained, I'm building something for myself. I can't put it off any longer. It was the first big step out of his comfort zone, and it felt terrifying but exhilarating. By year's end, Daniel had 5 paying clients. It wasn't enough to quit his job yet, but it was progress. He was no longer just dreaming, he was doing. He'd learned that time management wasn't about squeezing tasks into his schedule. It was about making room for what truly mattered. More Daniel worked on his business, the more his confidence grew. He realized the fear of failing had kept him still for years, but the act of moving forward, even slowly, was building momentum. His comfort zone hadn't just wasted time. It had robbed him of self-belief. One evening, Daniel revisited the cafe where he'd seen Jack months earlier. This time, he smiled to himself. He wasn't comparing anymore, he was inspired. Jack's journey showed him what was possible, but now Daniel was walking his own path. 2 years later, Daniel finally handed in his resignation. His design studio was earning enough to support him, and he had the freedom to choose his clients and projects. It wasn't easy. Late nights, self-doubt, and sacrifices were part of the journey, but it was worth every step. Daniel often thought about how different his life would have been if he'd kept waiting for the right time. He knew now that the right time doesn't exist, you create it. And if you let comfort run your life, it will quietly drain the years away. The lesson Daniel wanted to share with everyone was simple. Comfort zones are disguised traps. They feel safe, but they steal your most valuable resource, time. If you want to reach your potential, you must be willing to feel uncomfortable, manage your time, and take action now, not later. So, if you're watching this right now and thinking, I'll start when I'm ready, remember Daniel's story. Start with what you have, where you are. Even one small step each day compounds into something powerful over time. Your potential is waiting, but it won't wait forever. Thank you for watching Inner Spark. I hope Daniel's journey reminds you that the clock is always ticking, and the comfort zone is not your friend, it's your cage. Step out, take control of your time, and give your potential a fighting chance. If this story inspired you, please like, share, and subscribe so more people can ignite their inner spark. Remember, time lost is never found again, so start now.